And now on the line is Bernie Wright, a spokesperson for the Alliance for Animal Rights. Bernie, welcome to the programme.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hey Bernie, this is my first interview with you since 2017 in your capacity as a founder and spokesperson of the Alliance for Animal Rights. Although I spoke to you once since then on A.F.A.R about your work with the Food Not Bombs movement. Could you start off by reminding our listeners as to who the Alliance for Animal Rights are and what the difference is between yourselves and the National Animal Rights Association and indeed animal welfare groups?
Right, well, we're basically a group that was founded back in 1989, Dublin. I was one of the founders, actually, 3 other people were, but I joined a few weeks into it. I came across the table down at Westmoreland Street, and I joined it from then, so I've been with it since. People have come and gone, but I sort of stuck with it, so basically, I suppose I run it now, you could say. I do the legwork anyway. So we're an animal rights group with veganism as the baseline. We would be all vegans. Maybe not at the start. People join that aren't vegan, but they sort of get, we don't push it. It sort of happens. But realise the atrocities that are going on in the meat industry and stuff like that. So our campaigns, our main campaigns at the moment would involve the greyhound racing stadium, because we've actually been to the High Court and that about that, and also a campaign on Ashton Dog Pound, where the Dublin dogs are taken from the 4 councils and kept till they're rehomed. That's another story. But anyway, we get involved in a lot of things. Some things we win and we move on. Some things go on a long time. Some campaigns can go on for years. So.
Okay, Bernie, what distinguishes you as a vegan animal rights activist from people who love animals but are not vegan?
Well, I think people have to make the connection. I didn't start off as a vegan. In fact, when I was young, my mother worked in the butcher's, and I lived beside a slaughterhouse. So I think maybe that sort of flavoured the way I looked at things. I felt there was something wrong, but didn't know what, being sort of young. So, like most other people, I suppose, unless sort of very privileged people that have come from maybe 2 vegan parents, like, for example, my grandchild, they're vegan. So, between hopping and trotting, people get there. There's different ways of getting there. Some people come across the stuff that happens to animals and sort of says, oh, well, I'll say that's it. I'm not eating them anymore because I'm contributing to the suffering that they go through. I mean, animals die. They're basically tortured. They're skinned alive. There's so many things that happen to animals in slaughterhouses. It will take longer than this program to explain it. But that's the gist of it. People see videos. They go online. There's one called Meet Your Meat. There's one called Earthlings that are online that they can watch the whole thing. Okay. And if you can kind of sit through that and say, well, I don't care, you know, there's not much we can do, but we're talking about people here with empathy, and when they see suffering, they try to help. And it's like if a dog ran out on the road, you'd grab the dog to try and save the dog. You wouldn't say, oh, it's okay, you know. So I think you have to act on your information. So in saying that, people that join us usually head on that road and usually get there in their own time. They're not pushed and they're not annoyed over it. We give them the leaflets, they research it themselves, and they go on track whatever way they feel is right. So I'm vegan over 30 years now, so to me it's no big deal. It's just a way of life, you know. Okay. And it's a lot easier than it was back then. You know, there was no vegan products or anything, but well, you can basically get anything in a different form, in a vegan form, without any animal products.
Okay, you mentioned a couple of your big campaigns there. There was a big debate in the Seanad last month, wasn't there, about the greyhound industry in Ireland? Do you see that debate?
Yeah. Well, a lot of people sort of don't seem to know about the atrocities that do go on in the greyhound industry, the dogs that are killed, the dogs that are injured, the dogs that are drugged. As well as that, there's just about a month or two ago, the government gifted the greyhound industry 200 million to just for their daily expenses or whatever. So I think that's atrocious with all the people on the streets and the people trying to get into hospitals and all the other really necessary things that people are possibly dying over or you know, that really need the money. So so up to them, they were getting a bit less, but they were still getting an awful lot of money. Sorry, 20 million as well. Sorry, did I say 220 million? Up to that, it had gone up to 19 million last year and similar the years before. But I don't think people realise that they're getting so much. I say there would be a big outcry because that's coming out of taxpayers' money. And other very important issues have been ignored totally, you know. So you knew that, did you?
I watched some of that debate last month, and I saw that Lynn Boylan from Sinn Féin spoke very strongly on it. But I believe her party, Sinn Féin, have a different view officially, don't they?
Well, I suppose all the TDs have different views on this. We thought we had the Greens on this, but because there were two other parties, they voted with the other two parties. We were disappointed in that because I think we all voted Green to try and get animal-friendly people in power, but they don't seem to be standing up for the animals at this stage. They seem sort of going for the environmental stuff, which is worthy too, but the animals are important. So we have to just keep working on things, you know.
So, okay. So am I right in saying that you in the animal rights movement in Ireland are not happy with any of the political parties on animal policy, although there are a number of individual politicians who share your views?
Yes, there would be individual politicians that are very good. I must say we do miss Claire Daly, Lauren Sullivan, who are fantastic for looking up stuff for us and that sort of thing. But as regards money, since 2001, $250 billion of taxpayers' money has gone to the greyhound industry, which is a disgrace, I think, in any country, you know.
Using the Alliance don't take a stand on the so-called political spectrum, do you?
No, we don't have anybody in politics, no. It's hard to be both sides. I mean, we have plenty of friends or whatever, and you know, we do campaign, which is not that easy, but I mean, I suppose it's not that easy being a TD either. You have to take a stand, and not many of our TDs are vegetarian or vegan even, you know, so we're sort of starting from scratch. But the Greens were in there back in 2010, and they brought in the ban on stag hunting, which really didn't mean much because they left a loophole which is being used. And there a few weeks ago we found out about another stag hunt. So, I mean, it's not easy. It's moving all the time, not necessarily in the right direction, you know. And
I mean, you don't see yourselves as being left or right wing or anything like that, do you? No?
Well, we would be left wing, yeah.
Right.
We would be left wing. But I mean, there's a lot to do with the greyhound industry. There's the drugs and there's the exports now to China because the industry is not doing good. We've been protesting for over a year and a half. They brought us to the High Court to get rid of us back in January last year. And we actually won the case. They brought us to the High Court for a few days. They spent 30,000 to get into the High Court. There was fake leaflets put out, proposed to be us. So they used that to get the injunction. So we went to the court anyway. We stood up to them, and we actually won. And they had to pay our costs and their own costs in court. So I don't think they'll try that again. It cost them a lot of money.
This is the Irish Greyhound Board, is it?
Yes, well, it's Greyhound Racing Ireland now. They changed the name. Yeah.
Okay. We'll talk about stag hunting in a few minutes. I know you mentioned the Ashton Dog Pound in Ashtown. Who actually runs this pound? Can you tell me?
Well, the pound is actually a pound that is for all Dublin dogs, and it's run by 4 councils: Fingal, South Athlone, South Dublin. Sorry, what's the last one again? I'll think of it in a minute. The 4 councils, anyway. Fingal, I think it's the last one there. It's in Swords. We're not doing great because we seem to be getting ignored. There is a tender out. There are tenders out. We don't know the situation. They won't tell us anything. We have applied for figures for the dogs that are killed in the pound, because dogs have been killed, have died, have got caught in walls, have got caught in bars. It's horrendous because there has been some whistleblowers who have given us this information. Up to that, we didn't realise that Ashton Dog Pound was so bad. We have billboards up at the moment, shut down Ashton Pound. And we basically, I'd say, have the public on our side, because if you have a dog and the poor dog gets out and ends up there, there's not good chances for the dog. They had been injected with the medicine that is given to dogs to kill them, basically, to put them down. But it was given to them in their food, which their organs shut down, and they were left for days suffering. So there is a Gardaí investigation going on about Ashton Pound. Okay. So we'll just keep at this and try and get a better place that's not Ashton Pound for the city dogs that do get lost or get thrown out or whatever, because it's not really a great life for a dog out there. A lot of people just don't care, and plus there's the robberies. I just say to everybody, keep your dog well in at night. Don't leave your dog in the garden, because they've been stolen left, right and centre.
I know, yeah. Okay, if a representative of Ashton Dog Pound wants to share their position with us on their FM, they are welcome to. Another big thing we're talking about, Bernie, I know you've been campaigning on this since you've been an animal rights activist 30 years ago, about hunting. Two different there's news about fox hunting and stag hunting on the island of Ireland, isn't there? There's some good news about fox hunting, maybe, but also
maybe up north, maybe up north.
Go on, do you want to just explain that and stag hunting as well?
Well, there's possibly a ban coming in up north. Down here, there's sort of no change at the moment. The coursing is off, but that's due to COVID and everything else. I'd just like to mention as well that as regards rules and regulations from the government, the COVID regulations, greyhound racing in Shelburne is still on 2-3 times a week, with about 300 people going in there in cars from all over the country. While everything else is off, schools are closed, everything is closed, a lot of people can't even work. Greyhound racing is allowed still. And we can photograph them going in every Saturday night. We counted the number. There's a fair number with the help in there. It's about coming up to 300 people go in there every Saturday night to the stands, and the races are actually streamed online. So that's how they're making the money. The actual racing is off. There's no punters. Okay. You can bet online, but that's how they're making the money.
And horse racing is on as well, isn't it?
Horse racing is on as well, yeah. I think it's atrocious that these two are allowed, because they're considered so-called elite sport. Well, I don't see anything elite about killing dogs and killing horses and risking their lives every time they run on the track. So many dogs have died in atrocious conditions. And it just should be stopped, full stop. It's not something that should be operating in this day and age. It started in, 1927 here? The greyhound racing. It's about time it wrapped itself up. And plus, I'd say it probably listens to me when there are probably some people that suffer from others in the family or whatever that have gambling problems. And this is only encouraging that too. So I don't think it's a good situation for either the dogs or the people that are in that sort of spiral of gambling,
Okay. To talk a bit about fox hunting in Northern Ireland, are you in any way confident that the parties in the Northern Ireland Assembly or Executive will vote in favour of a ban on fox hunting?
Well, to be honest, I haven't really got into it that much. I would hope so, but we don't really have input into that at the moment. We shouldn't have it in the first place. As regards fox hunting, there's no protection for the fox. Anything can be done to the poor old fox. In fact, I've seen them brought along to hunt and just let loose in front of the dogs. And as regards the stag, they've been driven into rivers, they've been driven into barbed wires, they've had to be taken out of ditches with diggers. I've seen all this with my own eyes. So I know how bad these are. I mean, if you're not really taking an active interest, you could sort of maybe think, oh, it looks great, they're all out in their red jackets, isn't it lovely? But it's not.
Okay. Fox hunting is actually, I believe, illegal in England, isn't it? But I believe the police don't administer the law on it. Is that true?
Yeah, well, the law isn't upheld either with the stag hunt. So that goes for everything. The same with the law on the COVID with the greyhound racing. These people seem to get away with a lot of stuff that normal people wouldn't. But if it's something that makes money or people enjoy for fun, it's inclined to be left there, you know.
It was the Green Party that kind of led change within government over 10 years ago to get stag hunting illegal. Yeah. But so you're saying it still happens in Ireland, yeah?
Yeah, we were there at the time. It was John Gormley in charge, and he did his best, and he got the ban in. But I think he maybe underestimated basically the sneakiness of the hunt. There was a loophole left that they could hunt with one or two dogs, and they're using it to hunt with the whole pack. So we asked them to change it, but they didn't, and that's the loophole that allowed us to continue. Maybe not at the moment, but it was continuing. We've seen the road lots of times. It's hard to stop these things if people have a will to do it. You know, you can't be everywhere across the field. So, you know, we're doing our best. We're still very much opposed to all that. And we'll just keep fighting until it goes. I have a feeling we'll probably win the greyhound racing situation, because they're on their knees. But the problem is, with 20 million being given every year, what can we do, you know? It's a lot to fight. That money is a lot to fight.
Using the animal rights movement are up against some formidable opponents, aren't you? To have a lot of support as regards politicians. Like some politicians.
That's the problem. Yes, yeah. That's the problem with that. Okay. You know, I mean, I don't want to say it's a country issue. It's an all-over issue, but you know, that's the way it looks, like a country-city divide thing, you know. But abuse is abuse no matter where it happens. So I'd say the country is no worse than the city, you know.
Okay, I just have one or two more questions, Bernie. Before we come towards the end of the interview, is there anything else you want to tell me about kind of your work at the moment?
Well, no, it's just ongoing. As we do all right and we win something, and sometimes we don't. But I just like to say to people, it's just something that came into my head there. There's a lot of dogs being stolen lately, and even yesterday there was dogs thrown out of a car. They were dingless. I just like to say to people, if you see anything like that, the best thing you can do is grab your phone and get the registration number of the car. If you see dogs being thrown out of cars,
okay.
And if you see a dog that's lost or strayed, usually they're a bit dishevelled looking, just try and contain the dog and ring a rescue, and we'll get it looked after, okay?
Okay, just one more question, Bernie. A friend of mine has a dog and he loves animals in general, but he's very sceptical of the vegan movement as he considers himself to be right-wing on most issues in Ireland, and he thinks that the vegan movement is far left and socialist, and he believes that vegans don't believe in animal or pet ownership. Can you tell me what you would say to him on these views he has, Bernie?
Well, why didn't he come on here? Or he could have spoken to me himself.
He's at work today. Go ahead, yeah.
There's a lot of accusations there. Where do I start? I'm vegan. We don't kill. We keep a vegan philosophy, and we're doing our best for animals. What's he doing? Just ask him what he's doing. You know.
Do you believe in? He thinks that you don't believe in animal or pet ownership. Is that true?
I don't believe in ownership of any animal, but I do have animals that I care for and look after as part of my family. So he can answer that whatever way he wants. That's my philosophy. Nobody is ever killed. They're all looked after. They're brought to vets. They're fed good food. You know, I mean, what more can you do for an animal? It's terrible that they need us so much to look after them, but we have to, because they really can't fend for themselves. I also, years ago, ran a dog rescue for stray dogs in Kathmandu, in Nepal, for a few years. And, you know, it was still a win-lose situation because the stray dogs couldn't fend for themselves either. They still had to be fed by people. There wasn't enough, like, food around because they were semi-domestic. So it's a tough situation. There aren't any easy answers.
Okay, you said at the start of the interview that you're kind of like a left-wing, your organisation. Would you be socialist as well? Because he's very, my friend is very anti. He doesn't like socialism. He don't just. Would you be?
I'll put it this way. I'll put it simply. I look after the homeless and I look after animals. I haven't got a tag on myself, but I usually would have voted Green in the past because I care about the environment as well. So I'm not putting a tag on myself, but I do care about most issues, and I like to stop injustice. So if that doesn't suit him, the fact that I don't eat dead animals, he has a problem with, I can't answer that. That's his problem.